to all my A-listers and practitioners. Welcome back to this thing of ours in another episode of the Chronicles of Gameology. I'm your host, Neil K. Marcellus, and yeah, that's checkmate. There's an adage and proverb that is commonly heard among practitioners of this street craft that emphasizes that one is either at the game or in the game. Meaning, those who is considered at the game is clueless of the entry fee and payment required in order to step upon the competitive but prestigious chessboard. This payment that I'm speaking of is esoteric and costly. You see, it has to do with you receiving in totality what you purchase. This can only happen to the degree by which a practitioner can make proper and legitimate measurements as they make their way across at times the high-risk playing field known as the chessboard. And for this very reason, that's why all expectations, including the activities that we all currently is dealing with at this very moment, lives and completes their promise on a curve, as this image is currently showing. So a seasoned practitioner of this street philosophy is keenly aware of the vice grip-like stranglehold that is the stipulations and mandates governing the chessboard and its rules of participation. And these mandates and stipulations are none other than the cost of doing business and the corrosive and mysterious effects of time, which is being showcased on the left side and at the bottom of this diagram that you are currently looking at. But a crucial and supportive practice that is associated with the concept of measurement that I just brought up, which is a requirement for one to be successful upon this chessboard. But a substratum of the skill set of measurement brings us to the title and topic of this episode, which is the ability for one to know when either to hold them versus when to fold them. Unfortunately, a lot of men haven't been properly laced up on the X, Y, and Z of how to go about in deciding when either to hold them versus when to fold them. Regarding activities like relationships, business endeavors, investments, so forth and so on, any and everything dealing with matters of importance when it comes to a man's life and his well-being. Because here's an uncomfortable truth. Check out this new image I'm showcasing at this moment. This white slanted line, it represents the rising cost of resources that impacts a practitioner, regardless if it's their dividends and ducats, sweat equity, etc. All of this is required to get the most out of any business endeavor, intimate relationship, or whatever as it pertains to one's objectives and one's goals as they kick up dust and do what's necessary in participating upon this chessboard we call life. But hold up, I'm not done. Check out this red dotted line that's being plotted up against and alongside the white one on the same image. Now, this red dotted line, it represents the often out of sight and out of mind lane switching and constant change that a practitioner needs to manage and cope with when they are in the thick of it, being active, making things happen upon this gritty gridiron we call life. Now, to put you further up on game and to divulge a secret which can be readily known if one is properly laced up, but without a doubt, this is a sure sign and a guaranteed way to get more cooperation, securing that feminine submissiveness that a lot of square men is always griping and complaining about, that they say that many women these days are devoid of. But when a man knows how to exercise this ability, deciding either to hold them versus when to fold them, undoubtedly this skill set that I just got through mentioning showcases and puts a man on a pedestal. As for exhibiting superiority in handling the shitstorm, this unexpected change, which is this red dotted line on this image is symbolizing, this supercharges his worth and sex appeal. because it adds vitality and elevates his manliness, and women simply find this magnetizing and strikingly seductive. And as a seasoned OG would tell me, that this is when a man acquires the reputation of being high speed and low drag, demonstrating that he understands that it's just not resources that is the utmost importance, but one's ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. This is really the thing that gets the job done. But to fully put to work this ability on knowing when to hold them versus when to fold them, a practitioner must have a full spectrum and a executive level understanding on how to apply this skill at the particular junction located within this depiction, symbolizing the whole process I've been speaking of since the beginning of this episode. But I will divulge this full spectrum and executive level requirement here in a moment. However, first I need to highlight something real quick before I get to that crucial element that I've just brought up. It's funny, but holding something side by side will definitely underline and bring to light, so to speak, the discrepancies between the two factors being compared. Case in point, when I think about it, but as different as crushed, pulverized, dusty chalk would be no way like cheddar cheese, especially if one was to taste it. But there's a dramatic difference as to the swag of a gameologist like the one being showcased on the thumbnail of this episode versus the uncomfortable number of men these days who fall within what seasoned OGs taught me to refer to as the type of men who are labeled and regulated by their own incompetence as one who says, "Hey man, I'm just here for the nachos." But this type of approach towards properly managing one's affairs and the consistent variables transpiring across this chessboard have become the norm and a all too often staple of our society, mainly for the simple fact that these type of individuals have become jaded by consuming a shitload of Kool-Aid pushed heavily by the status quo, to the point where individuals that fit this type of mold have become low value and have a low availability and doesn't even realize it, which is why they have this "I'm just here for the nachos" type of attitude. Still yet, I said earlier I would divulge how one must navigate the make or break, now or never, either being completely successful or utterly catastrophic twist and turn in this process that this image is symbolizing. So first and foremost, exercising this crucial element I'm about to explain as it pertains to totally mastering the process that's being showcased on this image. All of this pivots around if a man is a thorough chess player or not. You see, a practitioner of this craft is attentively aware that a chess player sits above the chessboard. Unlike the pieces who permanently takes up residency upon the field of battle, the player is not on the board. Their position is to sit above it, orchestrating the overall direction and the vision, and then green-lighting the right strategies so that the adversary can be vanquished and defeated, which in this case is the proper management of this red dotted line that's being showcased on this image. You see, as this new image I'm showing is demonstrating, a thorough chess player, a practicing gameologist must be confident and 10 toes down as for being unwavering as to what they are sure of when it comes to their knowledge. But by the same token, a practicing gameologist and a thorough chess player must be able to shore up the gigantic portion of things that is notable, but which sits outside their immediate and currently inventory of their awareness, which is commonly called blind spots. that this black portion of this circle on this image is representing. Therefore, in order to fully implement this vital skill set, how to properly measure surrounding the implementation of when either to hold them versus when to fold them. But real quick, lay your eyes on this brand new image I'm showing at this moment. So for a practitioner to be straight nasty and extra thorough about properly measuring and forecasting the numerous objectives, the things that is actively sought after, that this red dotted line, if it's allowed to get out of hand, can cause everything a practitioner got going to come to a screeching halt. But this requires a practitioner, and zero in on this image that I have switched over to so you can get a complete comprehension what I'm about to explain. But a practitioner must know how to properly shore up their blind spots, those unknown factors that this large portion of this black circle is representing. Now, dialing back in on this particular image, the activities of the individuals in this depiction is demonstrating that a practitioner must shift their due diligence to the front of their pursuits, so issues can be identified and addressed early when it's less expensive and less costly. Still in all, for a practitioner to accomplish what I just got through describing, now check out this new image I have up and showing. But in order for a practitioner to bring about what I just laid out, a practitioner must be able to decode the unknown, and this requires a thorough comprehension of the totality of the scope and nature of what constitutes knowledge. Because those who are game goofy only take into account data or information, which in this image is represented by the two instances to the left of this depiction. So, in closing, the ability on knowing when to hold them versus when to fold them is not about closing doors or burning bridges or being arrogant or some type of inflated self-glorification. It's simply about understanding that those avenues may no longer lead to the promised land, because a practitioner of this street craft must understand that even a correct decision is wrong when it is taken too fucking late. Now that's checkmate. Thanks for watching. I will definitely catch you on the next episode.